Okay, let's start this deep dive with a really provocative question right out of the gate. Are most high achievers, and I'm talking about people who are ambitious, who work hard, who are really capable, are they actually running at only like 50% capacity without even knowing it?
That is the core question.
They look busy, they feel busy, but what if they're just mistaking that endless reactive effort for genuine forward progress?
It's the bottleneck of modern life, and it's this subtle form of self-sabotage. They're sprinting on a treadmill, confusing all that motion with actual cumulative momentum. What the research shows is a really simple truth. People don't fail because they lack capability or even ambition. They fail because they lack a stable, reliable system.
They're running on willpower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is a finite resource. It runs out.
Right. So today we are diving into the blueprint for moving from that life stuck on a loop, the feeling of constantly hitting reset every Monday, every New Year's, to a life of directed, almost automatic progress. The core conflict here, the thing we have to tackle, is choosing between just trying harder,
which always leads to burnout.
always, versus building a repeatable, durable structure. Because that's what gives you leverage. It's the thing that guarantees forward motion, no matter how you feel when you wake up.
Trying harder is just completely unsustainable. I mean, hope is not a strategy for growth. And motivation. Motivation is a terrible boss.
Oh, it really is.
The critical issue is this cycle of relying on, these temporary emotional peaks, forcing things to happen, and then you have to start from scratch every single time you dip. True discipline, the kind that lasts, isn't born from some extraordinary willpower. It comes from design, from structure. It's engineered.
So our mission today is to really dissect the specific systems, the protocols that remove all the guesswork from your day. The things that protect your most valuable and frankly most finite resource, your mental bandwidth.
Yep.
We're looking for that ultimate system upgrade, the one that lets you do less managing and a lot more executing.
Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so let's unpack this silent killer we're calling reactive living. The material defines this so perfectly. It's that state where you let the day control you instead of the other way around. Walk us through what that actually looks like, that chaotic morning, because that's where the whole day it unravels.
It almost always starts with a lack of intention. You wake up a little late, you're rushing.
The alarm goes off, you hit
You snooze, maybe twice, and then what's the very first thing you do?
Oh, I know this one. You grab the phone.
You grab the phone, and in that one instant, you have immediately surrendered your focus to the outside world, to the news, to notifications, to other people's agendas. You've given away control before your feet have even hit the floor.
Wow. And from that point on, you're just playing defense. You spend the next 8-10 hours chasing problems you didn't plan for. You're reacting to every email, every ping, every single perceived emergency.
And you get to the end of the day feeling utterly drained. You were busy, you were constantly moving, but you have absolutely nothing substantial or high leverage to show for it.
Nothing that actually mattered to you.
Exactly. You handled 50 micro emergencies, but your main project, the one that could change everything, it's untouched. And when this happens over and over, when you're always behind, always playing catch up, that's where this deep, quiet frustration sets in.
That's the road to burnout.
That is the road to burnout, and that constant failure to follow through on what you said you'd do, that's where your self-trust just completely erodes.
It's that feeling that your life isn't really yours, that the world's agenda just chose for you and you just went along with it. And if you're constantly relying on hope, like, I hope I feel motivated tomorrow, or I hope things line up perfectly, you're building your entire ambition on sand.
You are. We need a dependable rhythm, a system. Look, if you don't dedicate energy to building a robust structure, you will spend infinite energy fixing the same small, recurring problems over and over again. The reason most people never hit their potential isn't a lack of raw capability, it's the failure to build a structure that just guarantees progress.
Even on a bad day.
Especially on a bad day. The system gives your day direction. It ensures you move forward, even when you wake up feeling absolutely terrible.
So that brings us to the next point, which is why this mood-based approach always collapses.
Let's delve into that, because the structure we're talking about, it isn't just about productivity, it's about psychological stability. When you don't have that structure, your emotions are left to lead the way.
And emotions are unpredictable.
They're volatile, by definition.
I know this feeling so well. Some days you wake up and you feel like a machine. You're strong, you're invincible, you can tackle anything. And other days you wake up and you feel heavy, foggy. And suddenly that task you committed to last night feels like climbing a mountain.
And if your entire process, your entire system, relies on you feeling like that invincible machine,
Then it falls apart the second you don't.
the moment your energy dips or you
Right.
feel tired, the whole commitment collapses. People just fall back on what's easy, what's comforting.
Right. Scrolling social media, delaying the hard task until after lunch.
They're prioritizing that temporary relief over the long-term ROI of being consistent. They break the contract they made with themselves.
Which leads to that famous cycle of, I'll do better tomorrow.
But tomorrow never magically has more discipline waiting for you. The system has to be designed specifically to keep you grounded when life gets loud or when your internal state is low. It's about building something stronger than emotion, something that works automatically.
Like brushing your teeth.
Like brushing your teeth, like gravity, it's just there supporting the identity you want to become.
Okay, this makes perfect sense in theory. I love the idea of building habits that are stronger than emotion. But here's the friction point. Here's the reality for anyone living in the modern world. Sometimes you have to react. The phone rings, and it's a client emergency that will cost you money if you ignore it. The boss needs something urgent right now. How can anyone with a demanding 9-to-5, or kids, or real obligations truly build this perfect bubble of structure? Life throws surprises, and they are usually urgent.
That is probably the most critical question we have to answer, because if the system breaks every single time something unexpected happens, it was too fragile to begin with. It was just an ideal.
Right, it wasn't realistic.
The goal here isn't a perfect, isolated bubble. The goal of a system is resilience, it's robustness. You have to design for failure.
Okay, so what's the unlock there? How do you design for failure?
The unlock, the key revelation here, is understanding that structure provides anchors, and it facilitates rapid recovery and containment. When an unplanned event hits, a robust system keeps you from collapsing completely.
So it's not about planning every minute.
God, no. That's exhausting and impractical.
Yeah.
What you need are key non-negotiable anchors. A strong start, a focused middle, and a clean finish. These anchors are fixed points that you return to no matter how wild the day gets.
I see. So the anchors are like psychological reference points. The crisis hits at 10 a.m., you handle it, but because you had a strong morning anchor, maybe you already did your most important task, you can shift and adapt, but you stay grounded.
You stay grounded.
The one event doesn't get to spiral into total chaos and ruin the whole day.
Exactly. You contain the chaos. You don't waste energy worrying about where your life went off track because you have a predictable place to return to when everything else feels unstable. The system helps you recover faster than someone who is operating on pure reaction.
And that structure is what gives you control, not the absence of it.
It allows you to feel like a commander, not a firefighter.
Okay, that makes the transition crystal clear. We're not chasing perfection, we're building resilience through these anchors. So let's move into the specific protocols. We're going to apply this. ABCD growth, Cytal, insight, system, friction, and unlock to the 5 core areas for engineering this kind of growth.
Let's do it.
All right, system 1, mastering mental bandwidth through day structure. Let's start with why we feel so scattered and exhausted, sometimes before lunch even hits. The insight here is so clear. That feeling of being lost isn't from a lack of motivation, it's from the cognitive toll of decision fatigue.
It's a huge tax on your mental bandwidth. When there's no clear structure, your brain is just constantly wasting precious energy on these micro decisions. What should I do next? Should I reply to that email now? What should I have for lunch?
That internal debate loop, it's exhausting.
It's an unnecessary tax. We know from cognitive science that your capacity for making high-quality decisions is like a fuel tank. It depletes throughout the day, and when there's no plan, your emotions take over the decision-making. And as we said,
They're unpredictable.
they're unpredictable. You spend your time worrying about 10 problems at once, and that constant context switching drains you more than hard-focused work ever could.
So we have to eliminate the confusion.
Yeah.
Stop wasting that precious mental fuel. It's about designing for mental peace, not just for raw output.
Right. If your day feels out of control, you have to stop trying to force yourself to fix everything at once. You start by implementing a simple, repeatable structure that outsources those daily micro-decisions.
So what's the system for that?
The solution isn't microscopic planning of every single minute. That just creates more stress. The solution is what we call the 3-anchor design protocol.
Okay.
You identify and lock in 3 key non-negotiable reference points for the day: a strong start, a focused middle, and a clean finish. These 3 things define the shape of your day no matter what happens inside of it.
Can you walk us through what those look like? Like practically, what are some actions for each anchor?
Absolutely. So a strong start means deciding on your wake-up time and your top priority task the night before.
Before you even open your eyes.
Before you open your eyes, no phone, no news, you just execute that one high-leverage thing first. Then, the focused middle is a scheduled block of deep, protected work time, maybe 90 minutes. Notifications are off, the environment is controlled.
A fortress of focus.
Exactly. And then the clean finish, which is the one most people skip, it has 3 parts. First, review the day, what worked, what didn't. Second, clean your physical workspace. And third, and most importantly, plan the next day before you mentally clock out.
This whole protocol is designed to conserve your energy by killing that decision fatigue.
You don't have to think about what to do next. You've already decided.
Okay, that design sounds elegant. But here's the friction. Here's where the busy listener pushes back.
I'm ready.
My schedule is already packed. I have back-to-back meetings, a commute, family responsibilities. Where does this design time even come from? All this planning, reviewing, cleaning? It sounds like adding more to an already overwhelming plate. Won't this just make my life rigid and boring?
That's the common fear, right? That structure is a cage. But the data consistently shows the exact opposite is true. Structure is the key to gaining freedom.
How so?
The feeling of rigidity only comes if you're trying to plan the low-value stuff. The goal is to protect the time for the high-value tasks. When the important work is done, the rest of the day is protected. It's free.
So what's the unlock? How do you find the time?
The great leverage point here, the thing that makes it all efficient, is the night before planning ritual. You don't need an hour. You don't even need 15 minutes.
How long?
5 minutes. Take 5 minutes before you check out for the day to lay out the next 24 hours. Set the wake-up time, identify that one top priority, and maybe set one behavioral rule you won't break.
So you're basically making your most important decisions when you're in a high-control state of mind, protecting yourself from your tired, reactive morning self.
Precisely. This one ritual completely eliminates morning chaos. You don't wake up with confusion and worry. You wake up with immediate, clear direction.
You sleep better too, knowing the next day is preloaded.
You wake up prepared and clear, ready to execute. You are effectively designing peace into the next day. You're not waiting for some magical moment of motivation to arrive. This intention, this planning to use your time instead of wondering where it went, that is the ultimate act of self-respect.
Okay, that's powerful. Let's move to system 2, which deals with the brutal reality that we're not going to feel our best every single day. And this is such a powerful insight. Real success is built not when you're full of energy, but when you execute while you're tired, foggy, or just completely unmotivated, if your whole system depends on high energy.
It's unreliable by definition. You absolutely need a mechanism that is stronger than emotion. The core psychological insight here is you have to eliminate the idea that you need to feel ready or feel inspired. That belief will keep you paralyzed.
Waiting for a feeling that might not come.
Waiting for emotional peaks that are impossible to sustain. We have to build habits that are so automatic they function like the mundane tasks you do without thinking.
Like turning off the lights when you leave a room.
Exactly. It's the difference between doing what needs to be done when everything is going great versus doing it when you had a terrible night's sleep or just got some bad news.
Right.
That latter part. That's where true discipline is forged.
Right. In those moments where every fiber of your being just wants to quit. So what's the system for that?
The practical protocol is what we call micro-habit stacking and the low-bar commitment. The process is so simple. Make the habit clear, specific, and non-negotiable. But, crucially, you set the execution bar so incredibly low that there are 0 logical excuses for skipping it.
So if writing a whole chapter feels like a mountain on a Monday morning,
As the rule is 1 sentence.
if 20 push-ups feels impossible on a low-energy day,
The commitment is 5. Or even 1. We're looking for the smallest possible action that still counts as showing up.
the key here isn't how much you do, it's that you don't skip.
That is the whole game. Skipping, even one time, sends a powerful signal to your brain that this task is negotiable, and that's what breaks the habit loop. That's what destroys the identity shift you're trying to create. Action, even insignificant action, strengthens the circuit.
You can always scale up later.
You can always scale up, but first, you have to prove to yourself that you will show up, tired or not, foggy or not. Consistency will always beat intensity in the long run.
Okay, but I have to play devil's advocate here on the ROI, the return on investment.
Please do.
If I only do 5 push-ups or only write 1 sentence, the immediate tangible payoff feels, well, negligible. It feels like I'm just going through the motions to check a box. Doesn't this approach risk promoting mediocrity? Like a low-grade effort that won't actually move the needle on a big, ambitious goal?
That's the mindset of someone focused purely on immediate, tangible output. And it's a classic error.
Why?
Because the initial ROI is not in the output. That's why it feels negligible. The initial ROI is entirely in the identity shift that you're creating.
Okay, unpack that. The identity shift.
The key revelation is that by executing that tiny micro-action, you are training your brain that you are someone who follows through, regardless of your emotional state.
So the 5 push-ups don't matter for the 5 muscle contractions.
They matter because they reinforce the identity of a person who exercises daily. The one sentence reinforces the identity of a writer who writes daily.
Ah, okay. So the value is in the mental contract you're keeping with yourself. The action, no matter how small, strengthens that foundational self-trust.
And that self-trust is the internal source of strength you draw on when external motivation disappears. You stop seeing yourself as someone who falls off the wagon and has to restart all the time.
And you start seeing yourself as someone who just stays the course.
You stay the course, and that stability is so crucial. It means when a major crisis hits or you feel really unwell, you don't fall apart and spiral into guilt. You just maintain the low bar, you stay on track, and you rely on the automatic process you built, not on how you feel in that moment.
That's huge. Okay, let's move into system 3, which is about the leveraged power of non-negotiable rules.
This is where we get really sharp. Most people, even the ambitious ones, they suffer from something called commitment negotiation.
I think I know what this is.
They set suggestions for their behavior, not rules. And those suggestions, they just crumble the moment any discomfort or temptation shows up. It allows feelings to run the day.
And when feelings run the day, chaos always follows. You get that silent buildup of guilt from constantly breaking promises to yourself. It's corrosive to your confidence.
A rule is a line you don't cross. A rule removes the need to debate with yourself every single day. If the rule is no phone until the first task is done, there is no discussion at 6 a.m., the decision has already been made by your more disciplined future self.
And that saves so much mental energy, the energy you'd normally waste arguing with yourself.
It's a massive mental hack. So what's the system to put this into practice?
The system suggests implementing a 2-rule minimum standard. So you pick just 2 or 3 rules that genuinely hit hard and make a real difference, not 50 rules that you can't keep track of.
We're talking about high leverage rules, for example. 1 hour of focused, no interruptions, work daily on my passion project, period. Or, I must shut down all screens 60 minutes before bed no matter what.
And the core strategy here is the 0 exception policy.
The rule is absolute. If you break it, the protocol isn't to justify it or blame circumstances or wait for next Monday. It's to own it and get right back on track at the next possible moment. The second you start making small exceptions, you're back to negotiating your entire standard of living.
You're protecting your standard of self-governance.
So that's exactly right, because that little voice in your head that says, oh, just for today, it's fine, you had a long day, you deserve a break.
That voice sounds so reasonable.
It sounds incredibly reasonable, but that is the voice that will systematically destroy your consistency. You have to treat that voice like a saboteur.
Okay, I get it. No justification.
Yeah.
But let's talk about genuine, unavoidable curveballs.
The real world.
The real world. External circumstances are sometimes real exceptions. A severe illness, a family emergency, unexpected travel that just blows up your schedule. If I break a rule because of a genuine crisis, won't trying to stick rigidly to a 0 exception policy cause unnecessary stress and make the whole system too brittle to survive?
This is where we need to bring in the nuance. We have to refine the concept of the standard versus the performance. A crisis requires adjustment. It demands temporary flexibility in the execution of the rule.
So the rule doesn't fail, the day is just reset by an outside force.
Exactly. The danger isn't the crisis itself, because crises are rare. The danger is that internal just for today voice that tries to use the crisis as a justification for a permanent decay in your discipline.
Ah, so what's the unlock?
The key revelation is realizing the rule is there to protect your standard, not the specific daily outcome. And the hack to protect that standard is the instant reset.
So the minute the crisis passes, or the second you realize you broke the rule, you just get back to it.
Immediately. The goal is immediate repair, not justification. Not waiting for the clean slate of next Monday. This immediate action reinforces that you are still the leader of your standards, not the victim of the exception. And that's how you build true self-trust. You don't need external applause, you have an internal standard you honor.
And that creates that unshakable confidence.
It does.
Okay, on to system 4, prioritizing high-value work.
This is where we address the critical confusion between effort and effectiveness. And this is often the biggest failure point for really ambitious people.
How so?
Most people wake up and they look for the easiest, most comforting thing to do first. Check their phone, scroll, organize their inbox, maybe tackle a simple admin task.
They look busy, they feel productive.
But they are systematically avoiding the hard thing, the high leverage thing, the thing that will actually shift their life's trajectory.
And in doing so, they waste their best cognitive hours, their peak energy on low-value, comforting tasks. By the time they get to the truly difficult work that needs deep thinking, their brain is tired, their willpower is spent.
And that task that should have taken 1 focused hour now takes 3. Or worse, it gets guiltily postponed until tomorrow.
You cannot trade your peak energy for temporary relief from discomfort.
You can't afford to. The key insight is that growth and leverage live only in that hard task, the one you keep pushing off. That feeling of discomfort is a signal that you are challenging a version of yourself that wants to stay small.
So if you want to get ahead, you have to stop making decisions based on what's easy.
And start making them based on what truly moves your life forward.
So the system to implement this is the classic but powerful, most important task MIT first protocol.
Robust, simple, and universally adopted by high performers. You decide on your 1 to 3 non-negotiable priorities before the day starts, and you tackle them immediately upon starting your work, before checking anything else.
And this sends a powerful signal to your brain.
A powerful, unambiguous signal. I am in control. I choose how this day goes. I lead. This single shift is the engine that creates momentum.
And you've said before, momentum is more reliable than motivation.
Far more. Motivation is an erratic emotion. But momentum is predictable. It builds on itself. When you finish one hard thing, you generate the energy and confidence to do the next. It carries you through those inevitable dips in willpower.
So you're not relying on feeling ready or inspired. You're just acting on the rational decision your best self already made.
Action is the cure for hesitation, and the MIT protocol forces that action while your cognitive fuel tank is full.
Okay, the MIT concept is the gold standard. I get it. But the friction. The reality for anyone in a connected world is that the urgent often screams much louder than the important. How do I silence the constant flow of messages, Slack pings, client demands that hit me first thing in the morning? How do I protect that first hour like a fortress without creating massive friction with my team or my boss who expect me to be responsive?
This is a beautiful conflict because it forces you to choose. It's a choice between short-term responsiveness and long-term effectiveness.
The conflict isn't with my team. It's with their immediacy versus my need for sustained output.
Exactly. And your standard has to be set by you for the work that matters most.
So what's the unlock that makes this possible in a real job?
The key revelation here is strategic distraction design. The old advice was just ignore the world, but that's not practical anymore. The modern strategy is to choose when you engage with the world.
You schedule it.
You schedule specific, dedicated blocks for distraction engagement, for email, for Slack, for admin.
So I block off the first 90 minutes for my MIT. No distractions. And then I schedule a distraction check at, say, 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. I'm treating communication like scheduled mail delivery, not constant interruptions.
Precisely. You are not ignoring the world. You are choosing when to process it. If you are constantly reacting, you are never proactively building. You have to protect that first hour like a fortress, using your clearest, strongest cognitive power to move your life forward, not manage other people's emergencies.
Planning is an act of self-respect.
And protecting that focus time is paramount. This single shift moves you from being merely busy to being genuinely effective.
Okay, let's hit our 5th and final system. This one might be the hardest emotionally. It's the power of subtraction.
A profound insight. Strength comes just as much from strategically removing things as it does from adding new habits. We have to identify and remove the anchors, the daily actions, patterns, even relationships that steal our time, kill our energy, and break our momentum.
You can't rise while you're carrying the same weight that's been holding you down.
You can't. The sources emphasize that these weak patterns are the true reason you feel tired and disappointed. The cumulative hours lost scrolling, the avoidance behaviors you disguise as resting, the social cycles that bring drama and stress.
These aren't small things. They're the cracks in the foundation that drain your energy tank completely.
And the most frustrating part is that we usually know exactly what they are. We tolerate them, we minimize their impact, we pretend it's fine, but deep down, we know they're the reason we keep hitting the same wall.
So what's the system for dealing with them?
The protocol is the weakness elimination audit. You have to make a cold, hard list. Not of goals, but of everything that makes you feel worse or leads to regret. Name the apps, the specific behaviors, the junk food, the energy-draining conversations.
And the core protocol here is elimination, not negotiation.
Yes. This is key. Stop trying to manage the weakness. Stop saying, I'll only scroll on that app for 5 minutes tonight.
Instead, remove the entire category. Delete the app. Block the website. Stop going to the place that triggers the old destructive habit.
You've already tried the soft approach. Cutting back, reducing, balancing. The evidence shows it never works long-term because weakness always fights back when you try to contain it. You don't conquer weakness by negotiating with it, you conquer it by eliminating it, without exception. That bold surgical decision is where real power and mental clarity flood back in.
Okay, but this brings up the most difficult friction point yet. Cutting dead weight sounds great on a strategy doc, but a lot of these weaknesses are deeply habitual or highly social.
True.
Deleting an app is easy. But what about distancing yourself from friends who bring chronic drama? Or cutting back on socializing when you risk feeling lonely or offending people? That feels extreme. It feels isolating and maybe not sustainable emotionally. It costs a lot of energy to set those boundaries.
It feels extreme because you are being asked to enforce a standard of self-respect that is much, much higher than what most people tolerate. But that shift from tolerating chaos to enforcing that higher standard, that is the very definition of building self-respect.
It's uncomfortable because you're challenging the status quo in your life.
Exactly. So what's the unlock? The key revelation is accepting that the short-term discomfort, the loneliness of setting boundaries, the friction of saying no, that is the price you pay for long-term freedom and clarity.
And what do you replace it with?
The hack is what you replace the removed weakness with. You replace it with silence or space, not a new demanding activity.
So you don't just jump into a new hobby or task.
Yeah.
You allow the mental clutter to just dissipate. You allow recovery.
Precisely. That silence allows essential mental space and clarity to return, reinforcing the massive ROI of the subtraction. You move faster, you think clearer, and you act with more foundational strength because that constant emotional drain is finally gone.
You're letting go of what's easy, the familiar comfort.
Because you recognize that comfort was keeping you small, and that's how you become stronger and more in control than you've ever felt before.
Wow. Okay. We have built the systems. We've structured the day, anchored our habits, set the rules, protected our energy, and cut the dead weight. We have engineered the environment for success. So now we move into the final phase, the upgrade. This is about making sure this isn't just a temporary burst of motivation, but a durable, lifetime operating system.
The first element of that upgrade is integrity. And this is the ultimate test of any successful system. We're talking about the conflict between internal discipline versus external validation. Real, lasting strength is built exclusively in the quiet moments, in isolation.
It's easy to be disciplined when you're in a group, or when the spotlight is on you, or a coach is holding you accountable. But the system only becomes part of your identity if you stay loyal to it when no one is checking in and no one is applauding.
If you only stick to the system for that external approval, then it's borrowed discipline, it's temporary. It will vanish the minute that external pressure is gone. It's a fragile mindset.
True strength is built by keeping your self-imposed standards high, even when you could easily skip. Like going to bed on time when you're alone, or doing that low-bar habit when you're exhausted and there's no immediate reward.
That quiet work, that internal knowing that you kept your standards high despite the temptation, that's where the unshakable foundation of self-confidence is built. You stop needing external validation to keep going.
Because the internal contract is all that matters.
That kind of internal commitment creates a confidence that is entirely yours. It can't be faked and it can't be taken away by a bad day. The world might think you're being too rigid, but you know exactly what you're building. You don't owe anyone a performance. You owe yourself consistency.
And when you stick to it, you become steady, predictable, reliable. And that's a massive advantage in a chaotic world.
It is.
Okay, the second massive upgrade, the feedback loop. This requires brutal honesty as the foundation of growth. It means we have to stop telling ourselves a story that feels good but keeps us trapped. Feelings don't match reality. Results do. We need data,
Most people avoid looking directly at their results. They're afraid of disappointment. They're afraid of seeing the uncomfortable gap between their good intentions and their harsh reality. But ignoring the facts just delays your growth and makes the correction more painful down the road. You absolutely cannot fix what you are unwilling to face.
So the system is to institute a weekly honesty review. It's not about shame. It's about objective, non-emotional accountability. You sit down and you look at your actual outcomes, the pages written, the income earned, the number on the scale, without sugarcoating it or making excuses.
And then you ask the single critical question that cuts through all the denial.
What's the question?
If I keep doing exactly what I did this week for the next year, where will I end up?
Oh.
That question is designed to bypass your immediate emotion and just project the real consequences of your current actions.
That is a total game changer. Because if the honest answer is, I'll be in the exact same place, just a year older and more tired, then you know with absolute clarity that something in your system needs to change right now.
It forces immediate, smarter course correction. This process replaces denial with discipline. It replaces hoping with checking. You don't attack your past performance, you learn from it, but you stop allowing yourself to lie about it.
That level of self-awareness is uncomfortable, but it's essential. Because once you know where your system is weak, you can make smarter decisions to fix it.
Your system can only improve if you are brutally honest about how it's currently performing.
Okay, that brings us to the final, crucial mental model for the long game.
Clarity follows action. There will be moments, weeks, even months when the plan feels heavy, the goals seem impossibly far away, and nothing seems to make sense. You will question everything you're doing.
And that is the exact point where most people quit. They see that doubt, that feeling of being stuck, as a sign of failure, as proof their plan was broken from the start.
But the material shows that's often a sign of growth, not failure. Growth is often invisible at first. It hides behind repetition and consistency. You don't wait for total clarity to act. You don't wait for a burst of inspiration. You move forward anyway, trusting the process and the system you already built.
The dots only connect looking backward.
They only connect in hindsight, sometimes years later. You have to have an unwavering commitment to showing up.
So we have to refuse the temptation to just disappear or restart from zero again. Consistency, even when progress is invisible or agonizingly slow, is the only way for effort to compound.
The people who eventually succeed are not the ones who had it all figured out on day one. They are the ones who committed to showing up consistently, right through the fog. The progress might be slow, but your responsibility is simple.
Don't disappear.
Don't disappear, don't vanish just because no one's applauding or the results haven't shown up yet. You have to stay in the process long enough for the process to change you, long enough for your identity to fundamentally shift.
And if you keep showing up.
If you keep showing up when it's dull, when it's unclear, when the results are small, eventually the day will come when it all connects. And you'll realize it wasn't luck. It wasn't some big breakthrough moment. It was simply the inevitable result of disciplined repetition.
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap this up.
We've engineered a comprehensive path today that relies on structure and design, not on the fickle, unreliable nature of willpower or motivation. You are now equipped with the mental models to manage your time and energy through system design. This is the definition of working smarter. It's about eliminating decision fatigue and becoming the kind of person who honors their word to themselves.
And that internal integrity is the bedrock of real confidence.
It is.
So the ultimate system upgrade is about taking back your power, taking back control. The choice is simple and it's urgent. Are you going to continue letting life pull you in every direction, responding to everyone else's chaotic agenda?
Or are you going to take back your time and lead your days with intentional design?
You have the blueprint now. The only variable left is execution.
So the final immediate challenge for you, the listener, is this. You do not need a massive, complex transformation tomorrow. You just need one solid week of following the rules you designed for yourself. So what is the one non-negotiable rule you will set tonight, right now, that guarantees tomorrow is a day you lead, not one that leads you? Start there, and let that single anchor hold your entire system in place.